If you're a man over 60, chances are you've never heard this before. That lingering fatigue, the fading desire, the sluggish mornings, or even that quiet sense of insecurity. They may not be signs of aging after all. More likely, the real issue lies in what you're eating every day. Or rather, what's missing from your daily diet. Yes, I'm talking about fruit. 5 humble, natural foods that can gently boost your energy, improve your performance, and begin to restore your body from the inside out. No pills, no hormones, no hype, just simple gifts from nature, sitting quietly in the produce section of your local grocery store. I'm Dr. Emily Cater. For over 25 years, I've worked with men over 50 to help them reclaim their strength, clarity, and confidence. And what troubles me the most is seeing so many good men settle into lives of quiet fatigue, dried up passion, and the belief that, well, I guess this is just what getting old feels like. Now listen, I'm not denying aging. But I don't believe we have to let it steal our quality of life without a fight. One of my patients, John, 64 years old, once said to me, "I just don't feel like myself anymore. Doc, it's like I'm slowly fading away." But just a few weeks after changing his diet, no medications, just 3 of the 5 fruits I'm about to share, he walked back into my office with a bright, almost boyish smile. For the first time in years, I feel alive again. Have you ever felt that way? If you have, I want you to know, there's a gentler, more natural path to help you rediscover your strength, your spark, and that deeper sense of self that may feel far away right now. So if you care about your health, your stamina, and your masculine identity after 60, go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell for updates. And if this message resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0, I'm here to listen either way. Now, let's begin with the very first fruit. You've probably seen it hundreds of times. But today, I want you to see it in a whole new light. Sound familiar? After 60, our bodies don't just switch on like they used to. They need care, they need preparation, they need to be nourished, especially in the morning. And sometimes, one small, simple thing can change the way your whole day begins. A ripe banana. I know, it's not some fancy superfood. But in my experience, it's often the quietest things that carry the greatest strength. Bananas are rich in potassium, magnesium, vitamin B6, and most importantly, tryptophan, an amino acid that your body turns into serotonin. And serotonin? That's your feel-good hormone, the one that helps you relax, lifts your mood, and even improves your sleep quality. Have you ever woken up feeling exhausted, foggy-headed, and couldn't quite explain why? Maybe, just maybe, your body was missing that fuel it truly needed. I remember a patient of mine, Walter, 73 years old. A quiet man, soft-spoken, and always with this heavy, sad look in his eyes. I asked him one day, "What do you usually have for breakfast, Walter?" He shook his head. "Just coffee, that's about it." I smiled and said, "Try adding 1 banana to your morning. Just 1. And do it for 2 weeks. Exactly 2 weeks later, it wasn't Walter who came back to my clinic first. It was his wife. She came in, smiling from ear to ear, and said, "Doctor, he's back." She wasn't talking about his muscles. She meant his spirit, the brightness in his eyes, the strength in his voice, that quiet but powerful feeling of, "I'm alive, and I feel it." So if you've been starting your days in a state of fatigue, I gently invite you to begin again, with just 1 banana, not to change your whole life, but maybe just to help tomorrow feel a little lighter. I often tell my patients, think of testosterone as the inner fire of a man. And I don't just mean intimacy or performance. I'm talking about your drive to live, your confidence, your ability to bounce back when life gets heavy, and the quiet courage to show up fully, for yourself and the people you love. That fire? It needs fuel. And one of the most powerful, yet overlooked, sources of that fuel is something simple. Avocado. Yes, that soft, creamy fruit sitting quietly in your grocery aisle. Avocados are one of the rare natural foods that can support healthy testosterone production, without the need for synthetic hormones. They're rich in healthy fats, zinc, magnesium, and vitamin B6. all of which help reduce cortisol, your stress hormone, and reactivate your body's natural ability to make testosterone. Let me tell you about Harold, one of my most unforgettable patients. He was 68 when he first came to see me. Quiet, withdrawn, eyes a little distant, and his voice carried no real spark. He told me, "I just don't feel interested in anything anymore." I suggested something simple. Start your day with half an avocado. Nothing more, just that. A week later, he walked back in, and this time, there was light in his eyes. His voice had strength again. He smiled and said, "I can't explain it, Doc, but it feels like the fire is coming back. I'm sleeping better, more clear-headed, and honestly, I feel like myself again." My wife keeps smiling at me. And I'll be honest, hearing that made my day. Have you ever felt that way? Like your inner light was slowly dimming, and you didn't know how to get it back? If so, maybe, just maybe, half an avocado a day is where you start. No dramatic promises, no magic pills, just a quiet return to yourself, steady, real, and worth every bite. We often think that forgetting names, misplacing keys, or walking into a room and forgetting why we came in, is just a normal part of life after 60. But today, I want to invite you to ask a different question. If my heart isn't pumping blood efficiently, how could my brain possibly stay sharp and focused? There's a beautiful, red fruit I often recommend to my patients, not just for its sweet taste, but because it quietly supports two of your most vital organs, your heart and your brain. That fruit is the strawberry. Inside every small, tender berry is a powerful blend of antioxidants, especially anthocyanins and vitamin C, that help protect your blood vessels, lower bad cholesterol, and boost circulation to the brain. Let me tell you about Raymond. He was 66 when he first came to see me. He sat down, rubbed his forehead, and said, "Doc, every morning I wake up in a fog. It takes me hours just to feel awake." I smiled and said, "Try eating a few strawberries each morning. Not a lot, just a small handful." 3 weeks later, he came back smiling. "You know what, Doc? It feels like someone turned the lights back on in my head. I can focus more, remember my grandkids' names faster, and my wife says I'm way less grumpy." Moments like that remind me of something I deeply believe. Small daily changes can quietly reconnect us with ourselves. That clear-headed feeling, being able to carry on a conversation, to remember old stories, to feel mentally present, isn't that one of the real joys of life at this age? Have you noticed more forgetfulness lately? Or that strange brain fog that won't lift? If so, share it in the comments below. Your story might just help someone else feel less alone. And if this message means something to you, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and let me join you each week with honest, hopeful conversations about health after 60. One time, an older patient smiled at me and said, "Doc, if you're prescribing pineapple, my wife's gonna laugh at me all week." And honestly, I laughed too, because I get it. Pineapple is often treated like just a fun dessert, a sweet little treat after dinner. But the truth is, pineapple is a quiet hero when it comes to men's health, especially after 60. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a natural fruit, subtly sweet, easy to enjoy, yet quietly powerful in the way it supports digestion, eases inflammation, and even soothes the prostate. That little gland so many men silently struggle with, because it's just not something we talk about enough. Pineapple contains a special enzyme called bromelain. It works like a quiet repairman in the body, helping you digest more easily, calming inflammation not just in your gut, but also in your prostate, reducing nighttime urgency, abdominal discomfort, and that constant bloated feeling. I remember Benjamin, 71 years old. He looked worn out and said, "Doc, I can't sleep. I'm up peeing all night. My stomach's always unsettled." I told him gently, "After dinner each night, try a few slices of fresh pineapple. Stay consistent. Don't give up halfway." 10 days later, he walked back in, half smiling, half surprised. "Doc, I slept straight through till 5 a.m. No pressure. No bloating. I feel lighter. And my wife says I'm not so grumpy anymore." And I smiled, not because I had done something magical, but because he had helped himself. With something so small, so simple, so real. Are you dealing with anything like Benjamin was? Digestive discomfort, poor sleep, or waking up constantly to use the bathroom? If so, tell me your story in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. There's one thing I always emphasize to the men I care for. Without blood flow, there is no vitality. And without vitality, a man starts to feel invisible. Now, what if I told you there's a fruit, not rare, not exotic, but one you've probably passed by dozens of times, that can send healthy blood to every part of your body, including the place where a man most wants to feel strong? That fruit is pomegranate. I often say this to my patients. Muscles may soften, hair may gray, but your sense of masculinity should never fade away quietly. Because true confidence? It doesn't begin on the outside. It begins deep within, in the steady pulse of healthy circulation. Think about it. If your blood vessels are narrowed, blocked, or stiff, how can your brain stay sharp? How can you feel energized? How can you perform in the way that matters most to you? That's where pomegranate comes in. It's rich in polyphenols, powerful natural antioxidants that help your body produce nitric oxide, which relaxes and opens your blood vessels, allowing blood to flow freely to your brain, your skin, your heart, and yes, your most vital areas of intimacy. And when your circulation flows well, your mind feels clearer, your skin looks brighter, and your sense of masculinity returns. Let me tell you a story I'll never forget. George was 72, a quiet man, shoulders slouched. He avoided eye contact when we spoke of intimacy. But I saw the heaviness in his eyes. I gently suggested, try a small glass of pomegranate juice each morning. Stay consistent. 2 weeks later, he walked into my office. And he was not the same man. His back was straighter, his eyes were clearer, and he smiled, a full, warm, genuine smile. He said, "My wife told me I look different, Doc. But it's not just my face. It's how I feel." That was all he needed to say. And I knew his confidence had returned. So I ask you now, when was the last time you truly felt like a man, from the inside out? If it's been too long, don't ignore the quiet messages your body is sending you. They're not complaints. They're invitations to reconnect, to restore, to return. And if this conversation has meant something to you, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Because I'll be back to keep showing up for you. With care, with truth, and with deep respect for every man navigating life beyond 60. You don't need to go back to being 30. But if you could wake up each morning, feeling alive, a little lighter, a bit more confident, and still have the strength to reach out and hold the one you love, wouldn't that be a life worth living? I don't want you to treat your health like a race. I just want you to see it as a return to yourself. If something I've shared today has made you feel understood, if it reminded you that someone sees you, hears you, then I invite you to subscribe and turn on the bell, not to follow me, but so we can continue walking this path together, week by week, toward a life that's not just long, but meaningful, a life that feels real and right for the age you are. I'm Dr. Emily Cater, and I'll be right here, every step of the way, to remind you of this simple truth. Health isn't about your age. It's about how you care for yourself, starting today.